Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Fiction Game, a tabletop variety stream. We're back into the second ongoing episode of our third campaign, The Axis of Instinct. Where at the end of our last episode, our heroes, Merigold, Alberth, William, and Grayson, were all gathered together by an inheritor, sort of paladin-like figure, named Yossica, who barged into Alberth's workshop, once shared by Alberth and Keath, and asked Alberth, Merigold, and William, a newcomer, "Hey, you want to hunt a demon?" We cut now to the road to the Valewold, a sort of wooded valley, an hour's ride outside of the capital, where Yossica says she has heard reports of what could be a demon. These rumors aren't confirmed, but a person who she's hunted demons with in the past, Grayson, who you guys don't know all that well yet, showed up to her doorstep saying he was concerned about there being a demon nearby, the very moment she was about to set out on this quest. She stopped by to get your expertise. It's worth noting, Grayson, you look around at these fellows and aren't really sure what they're bringing to the table combat-wise. The really tall one doesn't appear to be holding a weapon. The really nobility-looking one also doesn't appear to be holding a weapon. There's one that is holding a weapon, but he's very small, and that concerns you. Maybe they're casters. Either way, Yossica hasn't made introductions yet. She's just been giving everyone the briefing. And you guys had some time before you left the capital to grab everything you think you'll need for a demon hunt. If you have anything that you'd like to say, like, I grabbed this, please specify. But for the record, you each are bringing a pouch of salt because your earlier interactions with the demon had revealed that that is a very effective tool to use against a demon. That it can blind them if you get that salt thrown in their face. Not that, like, normal people aren't blinded when you get salt in their eyes, but apparently this one's like a magical effect as well as just throwing salt in someone's eyes. As well as silver-tipped bolts for Alberth's gun, a silver knife for both William and Merigold, a bottle of ichor that is left over from the first campaign. Alberth still has that, and any Tiefstahl weaponry you guys felt comfortable taking from Keith's foundry. There is just an array of fine weaponry there, and so if there's any particular weapon that you would want to grab while you're headed out, feel free to specify now.
Would Keith have made any kind of I want to say caldrops, if you know what they are, like small little throwing spikes or something like that?
Sorry, what drops did you say?
Small little spikes.
Oh, caltrops, yeah. I mean, you played Keith, and so do you think that's something Keith would have thought to make out of this very expensive metal?
Probably not, to be completely honest with you. More than likely not. But if you had made any of that out of regular metal?
There's there's a possibility. You guys can definitely grab caltrops on your way out if that's important to you. You guys are going to be riding to the Valewold on horseback, so horseback combat might be like something that might happen. You're not really. I don't think the demon would be on horseback, but yeah, you can definitely have some caltrops at the ready. In addition to which, there's probably some Tiefstahl shavings and just half-finished products that work as just it would hurt to step on those even if they're not shaped like a little horse-killing nugget. So yeah, caltrops, that is a good note. As you ride for the Valewold, and Alberth begins to sober up from the drinks he had with Merigold, and with William, Alberth, something occurs to you. You were so worried when William showed up at your door looking for a druid, and you were so relieved when he turned out to be very much not an assassin, but kind of just a bro. He seems deeply unthreatening, despite his build, and that you guys kind of became, were very friendly and very cordial very quickly. It occurs to you now, as you ride on this horse thing back through the events, you've overlooked a key fact about his introduction. Because within the capital, Despite the whole first campaign, very few people actually know that Alberth is a druid. It's not common knowledge that's been spread around. Merigold knows, but even Vizier Kama didn't know. Pater Ullman didn't know. The Queen didn't know when she thanked you for your help. There's something about this William guy that he just hasn't mentioned yet. Merigold would be able to have a sense for it if he was like actively keeping a secret, but you're not sure how he came by this valuable tidbit of information. Because to the capital, you're an inventor and nothing more.
Very interesting. Can I like I'll pull Merigold aside or like find a time to mention that to him and be like, do you know how, did you tell anybody or did he figure out some mystical, magical way?
Merigold being very attuned to the keeping of secrets, you are absolutely confident that you didn't tell anyone. Even when you're drunk, you don't have the tendency to share details like that because you are a secret keeper by nature. In addition to which, you remember an additional detail that when he knocked on your door, William did not know which of you was a druid. He just knew that this was a place to look for one. In fact, you're pretty sure he still thinks you're the druid because when you guys didn't like tell him anything, he instinctively was like, "Oh, you look like a caster. You're probably it." So, he doesn't know everything, but he does seem to know more than he should. As you guys ride, Yossica breaks the silence by addressing Merigold. "Oh, hey, I followed up with my contacts in the town of Seldom about our mutual friend, Pater Ullman." She says mutual friend with like, you know. Apparently, he had quite the meteoric rise through the clergy of the Church of the Mountain after spearheading some programs to help the people who were left destitute by a drought in that region. He's pretty popular down south, and she has to stop as her horse, which is clearly like unaccustomed to the weight of a fully armored rider, like slows down, and she pats his mane and like whispers something reassuring and waits for a moment before spurring him back up to a trot. She continues, "But there's really no sign of how he got like psychic training that I know you detected, or what his political ambitions might be, or what he might have against Kama. So I know a little more about his backstory, but no idea as to our little mystery of why he seems to be so upset that Kama might be coming back. Do you guys have any more information about that? I mean, it's not like you could just ask for an audience with the Queen. She's clearly very busy, but I feel like we didn't... The information that I had relayed back to me from you guys, I didn't really catch how she's gonna not be dead anymore. Because Ullman says he saw her stabbed. Like, she's dead, right? I don't know. In fact, if you do know, you probably shouldn't tell me, because they're just out of like a plausible deniability kind of thing, because a bunch of other inheritors, it's one of the 3 crusades, is the crusade against undeath. So if she's actually genuinely dying and coming back, I probably shouldn't know. But do you guys know?
Yeah,
Anyways.
No idea. That's interesting.
Anyways, introductions. Right. I brought some people to you. You have a new friend who I haven't met. This is Grayson. We've gone on demon hunts before. He's good. He's good in combat. He's good at hunting demons. I'll leave it at that. The rest, I'm sorry, Grayson. I don't really know anything else about you. We've only hunted demons together. We've never like had a drink or anything. So I just feel like I should do. Anyway, this is Lion, and she gestures to the other like 6-foot-something woman who like clicks her faceplate up. She's had like a helmet on this whole time, and she like waves back at everybody, but doesn't really say anything to introduce herself. She says, "Grayson Lion, this is Alberth, inventor extraordinaire. He made that thing. It's great. If you've been in the capital a while, you've probably seen them because he's thriving. They're getting everywhere." And Merigold, who's a mage, and we haven't met, and she points at William. Who's your friend?
I'll
This is
introduce
William?
myself and just say,
Yeah,
oh,
go for it.
I'm William, by the way. It's really a pleasure to meet you. Sorry, I haven't come forward before now. It's not super usual for me. I just but yeah. Anyways, William.
Yeah, no, it's we're really rushed. I'm glad you're coming. Do you have any particular? I don't mean to be. Are you going to be okay coming and hunting a demon with us? I guess I should have asked that before I kind of commandeered all three. We're kind of in a rush because I don't know how long this demon is going to, or if it's really a demon. But I don't know. Speed was more important than getting to know people. But while we're just on horseback, anyways, are you going to be good?
Oh yeah. I'll be totally fine.
Okay.
I actually practice a little bit of blood magic here and there, so
Oh.
I'll be more than capable with what's going on.
This sticks out to Alberth and Merigold because he hasn't mentioned this, but he has mentioned his great distaste for blood magic. And hasn't mentioned that he's also a practitioner of it until right
Nice.
now. He goes, sweet, how do you guys know each other?
Well, he offered us a drink.
Oh, I guess that's how a lot of people meet. How long have you known each other?
When did
Well-
you come in?
About 2:30, you know.
Oh,
About 2.
Yeah, we'll call it 2.
Do-
Yeah,
That's
but I'm really into hunting demons. This sounds like as much fun as anything else.
okay, screw it. Yeah, I'm glad to have you on board. Shit, yeah. Sweet, right on. And then she kind of gestures to Grayson and Lion, like, introduce yourselves. Yossica is not the most charismatic or like a natural socialite. Do you introduce yourself first, Grayson, or do you wait for like Lion to go first?
Grayson's gonna wait, I think. I don't think Grayson has a whole bunch about his past that he would want to be introducing to a whole bunch of strangers. So he'll let Lion go first.
There is a substantial pause as you both very visibly wait for the other person to go first, and Yossica actually has to be like, Lion, go! You know how it is, introducing friend groups. And Lion kind of like looks back over her shoulder, and she like pulls her horse back so that she's like behind everyone so she can talk forward instead of like twisting 180 degrees around in her saddle. She goes, yeah, hi, I'm Lion. I'm here from Venel. I'm originally from Venel, so good to be here. I'm not a inheritor or anything, but not a fan of demons, and I was hanging out with Yossica anyways. So I guess that's
Hey, we're in
me.
the same boat.
Yeah.
Did she recognize Merigold?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Nope. And you're not like recognizably famous. I mean, you are the heir to a major house, and how the nobility in Venel works is there's the royal house, and then only the members of great houses swear fealty directly to the royal family, or to the crown, I guess, and then lesser houses swear fealty to one of the greater houses, and then the peasantry swear fealty to one of the lesser houses. So, heir to a great house and like one of the biggest great houses means that in terms of peerage, which means like who takes the throne if enough people die, Merigold would actually be like 18th in peerage for the whole kingdom of Venel. Or that's assuming that he is still the accepted heir. He is until he is straight up exiled or declared a bastard, because while Merigold has older sisters, nobility and like head of house status can only pass from father to son or mother to daughter. So as the oldest male heir to the seat of House McArlen, Merigold is like an important person, but he's not someone that like the peasantry would recognize, and unless they're a particular lower house like swore fealty to House McArlen and like would travel there regularly to pay homage, it's unlikely that anyone would just like recognize Merigold on sight. So yeah, Lion introduces herself very simply, doesn't really give a lot of personal details. She has this huge like broadsword across her back, more like a great sword, really, where Yossica's rocking the sword and board kind of thing, like she's got a sword and a shield. Lion is very clearly 2H, put all her skill ranks into 2H weaponry, so got that Zweihander. So yeah, she and then Yossica like half-heartedly gestures to Grayson, clearly not wanting to like spearhead a social interaction, but feeling kind of obligated to as the conversational linchpin, where she knows Merigold and Alberth from traveling 250 miles with them a couple months ago, and she knows Lion and Grayson from demon hunting in the past, so she kind of half-heartedly gestures to Grayson.
Okay, so Tom is realizing at this juncture that he's in a group of Grayson's in a group of strangers, and his casting ability is a secret. So, I'm just realizing that now. Okay, Grayson's just gonna say, "Hi, I'm Grayson. This is my horse Felt, and I guess as far as my credentials, I'm a member of the Hand of the North. I hunt demons a lot."
Yeah,
What's the
I
name of your
appreciate.
sword?
Do I have a sword? I was actually going to ask that.
You are practiced with a huge array of martial weaponry, which is standard for Hand of the North training. So you can have whichever common weapon you would like. Sword, spear, bow and arrow. You probably have a ranged and melee weapon, actually. Grayson's likely decked out. You also have a silver athame, which I think is how you pronounce that, which is like a curved blade for stabbing. That rests in your pouch of salt, so that anytime you pull it out, it's like coated in salt. It's the best
cool.
demon killing weapon you have. You would love to have a bigger silver weapon, but anyone would love to have a weapon that costs an absurd quantity of money, and you don't have that absurd quantity of money. Yossica's blade is only edged in silver. It's not like full all the way through silver, because that would be insane.
All right. Question. By common weapon, okay, so I'm thinking the horse is like my traveling companion. Would I be allowed to have like Kopesh, like a Dothraki sort of horse sword?
I'm trying to think of where that would likely be from, but I'm going to say yes. You can have like a scimitar style weapon. Yeah.
Cool.
It's also worth noting, you're the only person whose horse is like their dedicated horse. Everyone else here is just renting a horse. Yep. Right. Cool. And Yossica like looks around at you guys and realizes that she's like thinking of herself as a separate group from you guys and doesn't know if she's supposed to like keep gesturing around. Does anyone step forward? I guess William just introduced himself and said his whole magic thing and everything. But Alberth and Merigold, do either of you have the instinct to like fill the gap in the conversation and introduce yourselves next?
I do want to ask a quick question. How secrets is like a linchpin in the magic system, is keeping a secret and telling a secret, are those equally as powerful? Or is there any power in telling secrets, like withholding information and lying blatantly, and the information that is actually there is the secret?
I think the secrets, so secrets are just powerful for mages, and for a mage, they would only lose power from revealing a secret, but they could reveal it to someone who could then use their access to that secret as power if they were revealing it to another mage, for example.
Right, so for somebody like Merigold, if he didn't want people to know that he was like a scholar, so to say, if instead of telling people he was a scholar, he said, "Oh, I'm a blacksmith," is that two secrets in one, or is it just the one secret? It's the secret that he actually isn't a blacksmith, and it's another secret that he is a scholar.
I think that would just be a lie. unless it's super important to the person that whether or not he is a blacksmith or
Okay.
a scholar. That
Just wanted to verify.
yeah, it would have to be like knowledge that everyone except a key few people are excluded from to be a secret. Yeah, if just one person has the wrong idea about what's going on, it doesn't count as keeping a secret from that person. Doesn't work in the inverse. So yeah.
At some point on the journey, I'm going to try to get a minute with Alberth to the side, and I'm going to say, hey, I've kind of really buffed up my Compel and Discretion spell since our last time. If at any point during this fight we could get us with Yossica between the demon and us, and you could make a bond with the demon, I feel like we could probably get some more information out of it.
Alberth gets kind of like anxious or like upset, and he kind of I don't know if I've told you, I'm pretty sure I haven't told you this, but I haven't been able to make connections since I last connected to the demon. I don't know if that's because of the connection with the demon or because I was like knocked out or what, but
Oh, man.
I don't know if I'll be able to do it again. But I'll give it a shot. It's definitely worth a shot. Maybe a demon is who I can connect with now, and maybe.
Did that have anything to do with the ichor that you drank? Do we know?
So there are two things that you remember from your comatose state that affect your magic use moving forward. Number one, there was a strange green force in your dream that reached out to you, and you had to choose how to reach back. You reached back with the power of mimesis, and the power of mimesis was taken from you, and it hasn't come back. And you got the distinct sensation that it was pulled away from you, just like it was originally given to you. And that might just be fully permanent. The second thing is that you noticed when you woke up that the symbiotic link was severed, that you couldn't use the symbiotic link anymore, but you didn't voluntarily give that up or anything. It was just gone when you woke up. So,
Metagaming, might we know the reason why a certain symbiotic power is no longer with me?
if I were Brandon Sanderson, I would give you one of those RAFO cards, the read and find out. But I would go so far as to say that from what you know about the events of last campaign and about the magic system, you could likely extrapolate why Alberth's symbiotic link is missing.
Cool.
So, do you have a theory? And if so, would you like to share it?
Yeah. Okay. Me as Hayden, because Alberth doesn't know what Keath got up to, but Keath straight up murdered my druid patron. So
That's true.
That's why my druid powers aren't up to snuff these days.
Seems like a strong theory. Read and find out.
I love it. That was such a great moment. I love that.
I forgot that happened too.
Yeah. And then he almost got killed by a moth. Honestly, so if you'll remember that moth, Liam, that traveled with Gabby, had thrown Keath to the ground and said, "I accelerate your doom," basically. And so it's very possible that he wouldn't have died of the skulking end as quickly if he hadn't angered the Mothman.
Sick.
So,
hey, Keath, you're killing me.
yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Assuming you guys introduce yourselves, if there's anything you want to say about how you introduce, we don't have to go through it line by line, but everyone gets to know each other as you guys keep trotting down this road. And eventually, about an hour outside of the capital, you guys come to the Valewold. Vale, of course, being an old word for valley, and wold being an old word for forest. It's just a forest in a valley. And it is truly like the whole, it starts to descend, and there's like kind of cliffs around either side, and this whole thing is just densely thicketed. But you can see going down from where you are and out on the other end of the forest, there is a road through this valley so well trod that eventually people from the capital pushed up dirt to make like an elevated road that travels through the wood, and they keep cutting the trees away that are like within a certain distance of it because it's a well-traveled caravan road. So on the road, you're not going to face a lot of danger, even though you're traveling into like these really tall trees and this really dense thicket. Riding up, you guys take this high road a ways into the wood, and it does kind of branch and spiral outwards, and not all the portions of the road are as nice. But you guys are pretty safe traveling in a big group of people, most of whom are, or all of whom are armed, I believe, and some of whom are fully armored. It's unlikely that you'd be like attacked by bandits or highwaymen or opportunists like that. Yeah, as you guys get close to the area that Yossica is directing you towards, where she had apparently heard reports of like a demon sighting, you guys see two thin lines of smoke reaching up towards the sky, and Yossica says, "Yeah, this is the area that we're headed to. We should search, but the thing that we should do first is clear anyone who could be in danger out of the area, because we don't want to start a fight while there's like non-casters, non-combatants here. So let's clear that out." And so she points you guys towards one of the fires, and you guys keep trotting on your horses until you get to a point where it's going to be impractical to take your horses further. And so you guys tie up your horses and begin to make your way on foot. Now, as you're approaching one of these fires, you don't know who could be like waiting there. You're not sure if demons like need fire. You're pretty sure no, but there's no way to know for sure, because otherworlders, like other types of otherworlder, they still need like sustenance and warmth and most things that a human body needs, because by and large they inhabit human-like bodies. Yeah, what is your guys' approach as you come up to this first fire? Are you prioritizing stealth? Are you prioritizing speed so that they can't like pack up and get away from you? Or are you prioritizing kind of friendliness so that if they do see you coming up, they're not like, "Oh, we're being ambushed." They're like, "Oh, that's just people." So stealth, speed, or salutation. Those are your three choices.
I obviously lean towards the salutation option.
As a general rule, I think Alberth has as well. Or I'm getting him confused with Tanvik.
They're all the same character, really. No, but I think Alberth would. He would also be a fan of stealth until proven salutation, if that makes sense. Like, but yeah, I think that's because it's just people. You said just around a fire.
You haven't gotten to the fire yet, so you're not sure, but
A fire.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree. I think stealth maybe, and then eventually try to be friendly.
Right on. Everyone who is going to be in what we're going to call the foreguard, that's people who will be able to act immediately if anything bad happens, and preferably your quietest people who wants to be up in the combat. So Yossica and Lion, who are fully armored, they're going to not be in the foreguard. They're going to be backed up a ways. Everyone who thinks they would be up front and ready to act if something goes down, go ahead and roll me a stealth check, just a flat d20.
I got a 13.
Right on.
16.
Ooh.
And that's a 9 from William and a 6 from Grayson. Nonetheless, Grayson is by far and away the best trained to be doing this. So I'm going to say you guys are not heard until you get within line of sight of this fire. At which point you see one single man, kind of shorter, but with a much like a stockier build than Alberth. He's got a fire going, and he is now placing a big old like round pan that in our world we would call a wok, but the etymological like that the language of origin for that does not exist in this world, so most people call it a great pan because it's just that big, and it's big enough that people use them as like packs. Like they'll wrap a tarp around it and just carry like the pan across their back as a backpack. But this guy is starting to heat up some water in a big old pot, and he is fully alone and does not have any weaponry. But he does have bags and bags that appear to be full of well, you don't manage to see what they're all full of before William does step on a branch that probably would have held Alberth, but does not hold the very tall, well-built structure that is William. And that telltale snap kind of startles this short man, and he turns around and sees you guys and says, "Oh, hello. I don't have anything valuable to steal." And that's just how he starts the conversation.
Yeah, we're not trying to steal anything. We're just coming to say, hey, we didn't mean to sneak up on you here. Just want to come in and see what's going on.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. I'm Tomas. This is my, hi. I'm cooking.
What are you cooking here? I'd love to smell around.
Well, it's going to be sautéed mushroom and bass over wild rice with a savory herb topping that's and he kind of seems like hesitant to go on, and Merigold's sense of secrecy goes bing bing. What's he hiding? Why is he cooking in the middle of this forest? Everyone can tell, but Merigold can specifically, like, he's doing this for some ulterior motive that he's not saying.
I'm going to throw up a presence ward.
Right on. Very smart. Are you too drunk to do it? Now, you were drunk earlier. It's been an hour, not long enough for you to be undrunk unless you use some Flameheart powder. Is that Merigold's approach? That's actually a good note. You're hunting a demon. Do you think you would snort some Flameheart powder ahead of time in case you need spells, or do you think you would be waiting to snort some Flameheart powder if you need it?
How much did I get from Yossica again?
A fair amount. If you'll recall, his intention was to give you enough that if you wanted to essentially like wean yourself off alcohol and like try and be less dependent on it, Flameheart powder helps like reset chemical dependencies. And so he got you like enough for an alcoholic to stop drinking, basically. So it's a fair amount.
I'll use a little bit then, or I will have, since we're going on a demon hunt.
Solid. Very smart. You have all of your spells back in pretty short order with a hard snort before you leave the capital. And so by now you are clear-headed, which is not where you thrive socially, but it is when you get to cast spells. So yeah, you shoot up that presence ward. There is small wildlife nearby, but this is the only human in this clearing, for sure.
Okay.
Yep.
From a other character standpoint, is there a visual effect to casting that spell? And if so, Grayson would probably want to know what just happened. But
no, the wards are actually like an ongoing passive thing, so he's always got one active unless he's too drunk to have one active. And I don't think there would be any visual indication. Yeah, probably not.
Hey, what's the cooldown on my Compel Indiscretion again?
You amped it up with the demon secret, right?
Yeah.
Practically instant.
Oh, hit him with that.
You immediately hit Tomas with Compel Indiscretion, and he begins pouring out word vomit like you've never seen before, at a rate that I probably can't actually simulate as a human being who can only come up with what to say so fast. But he very quickly pours out the information, that he is, and let me look this up, get it right. So Tomas is a master chef. He is here to prove his worth to an otherworldly patron with his skill in cooking. He was told that otherworlders tended to live in the woods. Now, there's a particular problem with this. The only otherworlders that would be particularly interested in Tomas's ability to cook would be maybe a Razorkin, who they're all about like inflicting pain and pleasure, and a bunch of chefs end up, or like a bunch of blood mages who don't want to hurt people end up being chefs, and because that's a way that they can cause like physical pleasure that's not sexual and weird. So a bunch of chefs at the Red Temple cooking for people to absorb that like pleasure that they cause, to use that for like healing power. So Razorkin might be interested, and one of the Eloquent might be interested. The Eloquent being sorcerers' patrons. They're interested in people who pursue passions and like hone them to a fine point. And they reward people like that for their skill. And usually it's like musicians or poets. Bards are like a subtype of sorcerer because they like play music and do so well that they've captured the attention of an otherworlder who's like, I'm gonna give you magic powers for playing the flute so gosh darn well, and that kind of thing. An Eloquent who's like more avant-garde in what kind of like passion you can pursue might be all about that, but the only otherworlder that's going to be like looking over this part of the woods is going to be a wild folk who don't care how you can cook. They prefer to hunt their meals. Like they're all about like nature. They're all eating paleo. Yeah, this guy's clearly pursuing a dream that is not something that he could do here, basically.
Wow, that's really impressive. That's good for you, man.
He can barely hear you over the constant word. He's talking about his ingredients now and where he got them and how much they cost and which ingredients he would have preferred and how confident he was and how good this meal was going to be, because he figured he only had one shot to impress an otherworldly patron. And he is like struggling for air, and he's like turning red, and he's shaking his head like, no, please, and barely managing to get little like hiccups of intake between telling you about things. And eventually he just lies down and is talking about like, it's rare to get citrus fruits out here to the capital because they're local to Baton, but it's hard to get there was a citrus shipment that got held up.
Suddenly I'm seeing some combat applications for this spell. Yeah.
What did you do to him?
Did you do something to me? Did you poison me? How did you poison me? I only drank my own water. I don't even know you. We just met. Are you a caster? Do you have magic? Did you use magic on me? Is magic why I can't stop talking?
Whoa, sorry, man. It looks like I think you're just getting kind of nervous. Just relax.
He is.
You seem like an excellent chef.
He's weeping in the fetal position on his side. And it stopped being words, that he's just kind of making like guttural sounds. Because he's out of anything that he would have been keeping from you, and he's just saying words again. And you get the internal sense like, oh, it's been long enough, I can use compel indiscretion again.
What if I did it? What if I use exhaustive strength along with it? What would happen? Maybe I don't want to test it on this guy. That seems mean.
He would probably just die.
That's kind of the feel I'm getting, but...
Can I go in? I'm gonna go in and like try and pick him up a little bit. I'm gonna kind of let him know, hey, just probably this isn't the best place to be doing whatever you're doing here. I'm trying to be a bro. I want to try and not like bum him out, but try and give him a couple of like decent places he should start looking, other than the middle of a frickin' forest.
Sweet.
But hey, if you're needing some help getting this meal eaten up before you leave, like, we would be happy to help.
Eventually, he recovers, and it takes a couple minutes for him to get his breath back, during which time Yossica and Lion, like, clunk up to you guys. This guy finally regains his breath, and he says, yeah, Yeah, tall guy. What were you saying about where I should go? And how do you know this? Are you like?
Yeah, the wild isn't really well known for cooking. Let's be honest here. Nothing out here cares how you cook. Literally nothing. I suggest probably looking literally anywhere else.
Okay. How do I? I really need to find. Oh, you know what? I've just realized something. I've just realized there were other details about this character, and there's no way there's anything about this person you don't know by the time he recovers. So let me narrate the rest of it. I'm sorry. Tomas is desperate to gain powers as a caster, and I was looking forward to see how you get this information out of him, because I figured he wasn't going to be important to use a spell on. But I do have a little note in my in my world building here that says, if pushed, he reveals that. So I'm just going to read the rest of that bullet point. He reveals that a woman he is interested in brushed him off in favor of a mage at the Universalists Academy, and he figures, oh, she's interested in that mage because she's interested in casters. I should become a caster. And he knew from just like hearing scattered stories that some otherworlders like find people who do things really well, and it doesn't have to be like combat or study or magic or anything. It just has to be something that they do really well, and they kind of like sign him up with an otherworldly contract. And he knows that he's like a really, really good chef, and figured that would be his best shot. He reveals that the mage, that the woman, this is going to get confusing. The woman he's interested in is interested in another woman who is a mage who goes to the Universalist Academy, whose name is Trefa. And Merigold, you actually have a class with Trefa. Like, you met the woman who is dating the woman that this guy is interested in. And when he does mention it, that it's a woman, Yossica kind of goes like, I'm sure it's that you're not a caster. I'm sure that's the issue.
Oh, poor man.
Dang. Rip this guy, man.
I'm gonna try and hype up his cooking. I'm
Down
like,
bad.
dude, all these ingredients are so good. You've definitely got what it takes. Just not in a forest. A forest is not a good place to start. But you've definitely got the right track. You got the ambition. You've got it all taken care of. All you need to do is location. Get out of here.
It is a
And in
location
fact,
issue.
There's a great location that we know of in the capital. There's a place where chefs like you, like on that same caliber, just make food for people, and they use that whatever blood magic stuff to then turn that into healing somehow. I don't really know what it's about, but maybe you could go ask them. They are also casters.
Yeah.
And they need chefs. So
Now,
perfect.
Yeah, but it's probably not a good like career path. You should probably just go and you know, like if she's really worth it, your cooking is gonna be more than enough, more than everything you'd ever need. But like blood, it's a whole mess you don't even want to probably look into.
I was going to ask, like, William. Yeah.
Throw away all of your fine cooked meals. That might help as well. But
Yeah. Eventually he goes like, yeah, I didn't bring an icebox, so this is all kind of like day of kind of stuff, so I'm probably just going to cook this anyways on the long shot. You guys want some of it? It'll be done in a couple hours. And Yossica goes, oh, you really need to leave. And he goes like, yeah, no, I know, like, this isn't the place for it. Yossica goes, no, I'm sorry. We're getting off topic. We're here for a demon. And even this guy who's out here, like, trying to become a caster by impressing an otherworlder is like, demon? Like, really, though? And he kind of has that skeptical look. But Yossica, like, fixes him down with a stare. She goes, yeah, a demon. And she kind of gestures around to everyone's sick gear, and he kind of looks around and is like, you know, even if I'm skeptical about a demon, these are heavily armored people telling me that there's a threat here, so maybe the nomenclature of, like, if you call it a demon and I would call it something more reasonable is less important than that I leave. And so he kind of looks around and gulps and says, oh, okay, well, if you guys make it back to the capital by nightfall, I'm cooking a bunch of food. And apparently it's not going to impress anyone not from this world, so it might as well impress someone. Thanks for the heads up about the demon. And he begins packing, he pours out the boiling water and begins packing the stuff into his great pan very quickly and putting the tarp over it and like slinging it over his back and everything. Anything else to say to this guy before you guys head out to check out the other fire?
Safe travels. Enjoy. Hope you find your lady.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yep. And he heads out. Right on. Yossica says, right, well, I wonder if he's really a good enough cook to, like, attract an otherworldly patron. I mean, like, definitely not the place to do it, but, we'll find out tonight. And she starts striding back towards the horses, and Lion, like, with a cocked eyebrow, adds, like, that's assuming we all make it back to the capital by tonight. And Yossica's like, it's... Shut up. We're going to make it. And so you guys get back to the horses, get them up to a trot, and cross back over this high road and towards the other fire. You guys similarly tie up the horses, make your approach. Yossica talks to you guys saying, like, do we want to use the same approach for sneaking up? William, do you want to be with us in the back line?
Yeah.
And
Also, real quick, do I have any... So a lot of my spells require, like, a mana that I get from, like, either injuring others or myself,
yes,
or just causing joy to others or myself, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have any... Does that store?
Yes.
Do I have, like, storages of it?
Yes, you do. How much depends on what William's been doing with his blood magic. Now, you have a particular ability that would help you go about this in a very clean way. That is your awareness of grace. William knows what people need on an emotional level and can use that to be very careful about how he helps other people, and to use that red source pleasure, like to cause people to feel good in ways that they uniquely benefit from and are emotionally healthy for them and aren't like a means to an end kind of thing. But it's worth noting that making someone happy doesn't always fulfill the red source for pleasure. Like emotionally fulfilling someone doesn't cut it, but feeding them does. And it has to do with like how it affects their body. Like it is a very physical chemical reality that it would have to cause like a release of endorphins or oxytocin or like serotonin is probably what we would call it in the real world. But feeding people is a better example than like telling someone that they are gonna make it and that they're enough and they should remember that, which is kind of the awareness of grace specialty. But yeah, it's still advantageous. So do you think that William has been going about trying to build up an internal reservoir of sanguine mana from like a really clean way, or if he's been using like the pain source on like himself or others? How do you think William's been going about building up sanguine mana?
Probably something low-key and consistent. Can I throw a couple of sharp rocks in my shoe?
Yeah, you can definitely cause pain to yourself without causing harm to yourself. Especially because you are Lycian-blooded and regenerate very easily. So, great news, you can keep it contained to just you if you're doing harm. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, something along those lines. Just wanted to verify. But anyways, yeah, I'll wait in the back with everybody that's not good at stealth.
Right on. The other three, roll me stealth checks as you approach this second fire.
I got a 20.
Ooh. A 20 from Merigold and a 1 from Alberth gets us off to a great start. Unfortunately, stealth is one of those rolls that's like less of a sum and more of a lowest common, like lowest total dice roll. And so while Merigold starts thinking, I could be a cat burglar, I've really got a hold of this, Alberth falls over. And the seven, or you guys have just gotten close enough to see 7 men clad in black leather gathered around a campfire, and you had just heard the tail end of caravan should be coming around the hill any minute. And there is a crack of a hollow log that Alberth falls directly onto. And even more than most days, Alberth misses Keath and the symbiotic link that they once shared. Because that would have taken that outcome off of the table. You might not have even had to roll for it. But as it stands, this group that is clearly ready to do some thieving, stand up and draw knives and short bows as they see 3 men approaching their clearing. Alberth, Merigold, and Grayson. I'm going to say, since you guys are sneaking up, even though you've just been noticed, you guys have priority in the initiative order. Grayson, you have a sort of scimitar or khopesh kind of weapon, and I'm assuming you also have a ranged weapon, probably a bow and arrow.
Yeah,
right on.
works for me.
Real quick, how far away is my awareness of somebody's emotional needs? How far away does that work?
Not, I'm gonna say, from the back row to the bandits. I'm gonna go ahead and call them bandits. You're pretty confident that they're bandits. But you can probably detect Alberth's emotional needs, or Merigold's, or Grayson's, or Yossica or Lion. Is there anyone you're focusing on specifically to see what they need?
Probably Alberth, just to make sure, in case something had gone wrong, like maybe they're all bandits. I could let the people near me know, like, oh, they're probably going to need combat assistance.
I'm going to guess that you detect some panic from Alberth, and maybe, since you also detect the actions that would most strongly affect them, I think Alberth, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Hayden, I'm going to make a guess that Alberth is feeling a need to really prove himself in this fight, so he doesn't feel like he botched something.
Yep.
Right on.
That's fair.
Yep. So that's the sense that you get from Alberth. Either way, you hear like the crack, and you do hear steel being drawn in the distance. So you know something's bad, you're just not there yet. And you and Yossica and Lion start to charge in. Things get real clanky real fast as they sort of dun 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 dun.
Ding.
So,
Is there one that's clearly the leader, or is it hard to tell?
roll me an insight check. See if you can tell which one is the leader.
3.
Yeah, you have no idea. They're all very similarly dressed, very similarly armed. And no one seems to be like calling the shots. They're all getting up and like frantically, like they're starting to charge. Yeah.
Well, I'll just hit a random one with compelling discretion then, just to sow chaos until our friends arrive.
One of the bandits that is charging you begins to scream out, "We're the Emerald Gang, a group of bandits that has been attacking people on the wayside of these woods for months." And the guys around him start going, "What the shit, guys?" And he panicked, starts running towards you faster as he shouts out, "We've recently stolen half of a druidic artifact. The other one is coming on a delivery from a town called..." Where is it? My goodness.
This is the best spell in all of
The most powerful.
table game
Unbeatable.
history. Yeah.
From a spell from a town called Seldom to the south, the caravan is being rerouted through the Valewold, and he like turns and starts to run into the woods so you can't hear him. And as he's disappearing, he's just screaming louder and louder. And he starts saying, "We have there's a fence who's also a druid, a parasitic druid, I believe it's called, that told us where to find these druidic artifacts and has offered us a handsome price to deliver it to her." disappears into the woods as the other 6 look around like, what the hell is happening? Excellent
So,
use
Emerald
of your turn.
Bandit.
Yeah, the Emerald Gang. I'm glad this forgoes the need for stealth because you don't have to listen to anyone having discussions or like get context clues. It's kind of like in Skyrim how like if people have plot important dialogue, they'll put like a note in their pocket that has all of the information. It's that kind of like plot ready backup. They're just like, there's never going to be information that you don't get.
Yeah.
Excellent use of a turn. Grayson, it is now your turn.
Does awareness of faults let me see a weak link in the Emerald Gang?
Ooh, awareness of faults is a strong sense to use here. I am gonna say you can immediately tell that 2 of them are wounded. They're limping in a way that wouldn't be noticeable because they're like a dead sprint and just like powering through it. But 2 of them would be thrown off balance very easily. And in addition to like the physical weaknesses that you sense, there is, or in fact, make me a roll because we've established that these awarenesses, they're passive, but they are skills that you can still build. And so I think a roll is apropos for this situation. 14 is strong. It's a powerful roll. You can tell that a couple of them don't like the way that the gang is organized and wouldn't mind a bit of a mutiny. I don't know if it's still called a mutiny if it's on land, but they wouldn't mind a bit of a coup, just a sprinkle of coup. You also detect something that you didn't expect to sense, but you can detect structural faults with this as well. And they're about to charge under a particular bough that is about to break off of a tree, which isn't even something that you would like think of if this sense wasn't like calling your attention to it. But it is just like a heavy branch of a tree that's ready to fall. But you're not sure what you could do with that information because it's not like you can like snipe the branch off. That's not a really effective use of that. So yeah.
All right. I guess I'll assume Grayson is vaguely familiar with the, group's abilities and whatever. He's going to tell Alberth that, hoping the gun can do something about that. And then going to pick one of the ones that doesn't feel mutinous and just aim for the head.
Right on. Go ahead and roll to make that shot. Out of curiosity, you could decide a little bit about your like equipment right now. What kind of bow do you think Grayson uses?
I know there are usually like strength requirements on it, but like is a longbow an option? Like the big boy?
A longbow is definitely an option, especially because you have pretty extensive combat training. I'm going to guess Grayson is like definitely in shape enough to pull back like a heavy draw weight longbow. So yeah.
Cool.
It probably means you can't fire like as fast. There's probably upsides and downsides to this, but this isn't a numbers heavy game. And so I think it makes sense to say you have a longbow and and you are skilled with it. With an 18 on the D20, I'm gonna say you fully hamstring one of these guys. That it shoots through his leg and he is like thrown back and like bolted to the ground and falls over. Yeah,
Hey.
Powerful opening shot. And yeah, you do get some looks as like Yossica and Lion catch up to you like, damn, son. Right on. Alberth, you must spend your turn getting up. And William, Yossica, and Lion spend their turn catching up with the rest of the party.
I have a quick question. Can I project my wards onto other people?
You can't, but you know from your experience at the Universalist Academy that is a whole category of mage spells called proxy spells that switches out the target or recipient of a spell for someone else. And so yes, you can later, but just not.
So I can't use those spells with like two-pronged, for example.
Oh, No. The wards are specifically applied to yourself. And
Okay.
if you were to split it, you would still only have one target that you could point it at. Yeah.
Cool. That makes sense.
Yep. And with the rest of the party standing up or catching up, the bandits come around and are going to make attacks on at everyone that was in the vanguard, the front group that was heading up. It sucks that your three tanks. I'm going to say the two armored people and the person with the best regeneration and the tough attribute, they were also the loudest, so they had to be in the back. So this is an unfortunate sort of marching order for D&D style combat. But each of the three of you make me 2 defense rolls because, I guess Grayson make 1 less because, you've removed 2 of the 7 bandits, but the rest have charged in.
And who else making the rolls?
Everyone but you right now. So Alberth with a 5 and 17 does catch a dagger in the forearm. It doesn't stab in, but it slashes across, and there is like a spray of blood. So not like long-term mortal or short-term debilitating, but not great news either. Grayson with a 14 is in the clear and manages to, despite the fact that he's currently wielding a bow, not like a melee weapon, manages to turn and duck around and come around on the other side of the guy. Merigold, without a lot of combat experience and with a ward that isn't going to help him in this situation, a 14 and an 8 means Merigold gets cut up pretty good and does catch 1 dagger into the thigh, but manages to like pull away before it's like buried bone deep or anything. But it is certainly limp worthy and something you're going to want to get bandaged. In addition to which, you guys are a little more combat experienced now than you were at the beginning of the first campaign, but I think this might be the first major wound that Merigold has received during these campaigns, and Alberth is also usually at a range, so you guys are pretty at a loss for what to do when you're up close. But fortunately, charging in, Yossica uses her shield to slam into the guy that just stabbed Merigold, forcing him to drop his dagger, and he slams to the floor. I guess not floor, but like dirt ground. And she like takes 2 swipes at the other guy next to Merigold, backing him up a lot. And Lion comes in as well. But it is now the party's turn again. We'll cover it in the original order. I'm going to say Alberth, then Merigold, and then we'll do... just Alberth first.
I want to compel adrenaline on the tanks.
Sweet.
So I just want to...
Just you
buff the buff people.
I love that. You can't pick... you cast it on an area, but not specific individuals in an area. So this would be casting compel adrenaline on everyone, which would almost certainly have mixed results.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Don't want to do that as much. How about... I want to try this Hearthlight aura. Because Alberth is hurt and he sees Merigold get hurt and he's thinking the same thing, like, oh, we aren't usually the ones get hurt. So he wants to, and I guess I'll just read it. Infuse yourself with Lycian power for a short time, spreading an aura of healing, charisma, and warm light. You control the intensity from subtle to powerful but noticeable.
It is Tenvic 2.0.
It is. It really is. I love it.
I do want to mention, this heals and comforts everyone in a radius. It's not like a specific people thing. But if you're fine with lightly healing bandits in exchange for lightly healing yourself, this is super totally an option. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Right on. Now you control the intensity. Do you try and do it like a minor way that they wouldn't notice, or do you full blast it, which in your experience does infuse you with a golden light, and you actually it's like you have a silhouette of golden glow.
I want to stick on the very subtle end just to keep me and Merigold from passing out, basically.
Right on. You pulse out this healing warmth a little bit, and while it would usually be very subtle, you feel it being strangely compounded. It's like it's stacking with a similar effect. And I don't know if if William has mentioned in character that he's part angel. There is the golden iris around his eye that you might be able to tell. But in case Alberth had a suspicion before, he is now doubly suspicious. And as you pulse this out, William and Alberth, this golden light kind of lightly connects everyone within its radius. And your awareness of grace is particularly heightened in the presence of Hearthlight aura. Will you each make me a roll to determine what you can determine? 6 from William isn't going to render much information. A 12 from Alberth, I'm going to say that's enough. You sense panic and desperation from each of these bandits. They feel that they have been discovered and that they are in trouble for what they've been doing, and they feel like they now have to do something that they don't want to do, namely to like attack and probably kill these people that they don't know, just so that they don't get in trouble with the law. You also get the distinct sense that every one of these people wouldn't be bandits anymore if they felt like they had another option. I don't know how much that helps you in a combat scenario. If there's something that you want to say, because in this pulse of warm, healing, like empathy light, there is a moment of hesitation. Everyone has their weapons drawn, but everyone does fully pause for a moment, and there's just half a breath worth of time in which everyone kind of has to reset and rethink, like, do I want to commit acts of violence against these people that I don't really know anything about? And it causes hesitation unilaterally, everyone. A couple things occur to you. Yes, yeah.
So this like feeling of warmth and whatever spreads across everybody. Does everybody gain a small like charisma boost?
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that also compound like doubly for me because I have like just a generic charisma boost and just already?
Yeah, pretty much. And this might not be evident in character, but since everyone was here for character creation, I'm going to say this because it's not... Oh, I think I lost everyone again.
We can still hear you.
Oh.
Your video froze for like a split second.
Oh yeah, you're lagging.
Lagging.
Oh, no.
The video's laggy. I can hear you, though.
Oh, interesting. Well, the video's not laggy on my end, and my end is where we're recording it. So as long as you can hear me, we are golden.
Does it matter if you can see us laggy? Tell me when you see my clap.
I'm sorry, I didn't have time to process the sentence before you clapped. No, you're not laggy at all. You're very clean. I could see everyone at excellent frame rates. Yeah. So, that's what I was saying. So, what is that I was saying? No, the Hearthlight aura, it does spread like this feeling of charisma. The reason it compounded is because William also has a very subtle but constant Hearthlight aura, so that's why it was enhanced. But yes, William, you do still reap the benefits of the additional Hearthlight aura, and you are additionally charismatic. So, yeah, that's what I was saying. With this pulse of light, there are two things that occurs to Alberth. The first is that if you were to somehow convince these people that you don't, like you're not a threat to them, that you're not going to turn them into the authorities, then you might actually be able to leave this encounter without killing anybody. Nobody has to die. In addition to which, you realize a unique opportunity where you have just caused everyone to hesitate, and you have another powerful area spell that takes great advantage of people hesitating. So if you were to compound this with Compel Adrenaline, everyone might run just because they're hesitating in this half-breath moment. It would probably cause your own team to run just as much as it would cause everyone else to. But you would be fine.
I'm going to keep that in my back pocket in case what I say goes wrong. But I think my first thing, as everybody's hesitating, is I want to say, hey, everybody, we don't want to fight. We don't need to fight. We're not here for you. We're not here to bust you. We kind of just, we're actually here to fight a demon. We don't need to do this. Nobody needs to die tonight. Yossica, nobody needs to die tonight.
A compelling argument, a conclusion that everyone would be in favor of, but there's sort of a prisoner's dilemma situation happening here. So go ahead and roll me a charisma check to see how well this turns out. Add 2 to it from the compounded Hearthlight aura.
It's a 10.
It's not bad. It causes hesitation, but the bandits look at each other and have this distinct like head shaking moment. Like, no, we can't let them leave just because they're like nice in a moment. Like this is, if they leave, they have power over us and we no longer have power over them. They will definitely turn us in. There's no reason that they wouldn't. But it buys enough time for someone else to jump in. Now, there's charisma abilities across the board here. In fact, so many that we might be a little lacking in combat. But Merigold is great at prying secrets out of people. William has that passive charisma bonus from being just part angel. And Grayson has Silver Tongue, a warlock ability that boosts his charisma, and that boost is doubled by, or if he happens to be manipulating someone or lying to them. So, does anyone use this momentary pause to jump in?
So if Grayson decides, you know what, I'm going to turn these guys in the second we get back to the city, and then backs up Alberth's argument, does he get an extra boost?
Yes, and in fact, you hear or you feel a creeping presence that appears at times as if looking over your shoulder. That says, "What a gorgeous opportunity for betrayal. Convince them that you mean them no harm. We will turn them in later."
All right. Yeah, Grayson feels a little mixed feelings on that account, but follows the instructions. He's gonna decide, all right, I'll turn them in later, but they don't need to know that.
Right on.
And lies his ass off.
Make me a charisma check with a +4. They kind of look around at each other and think, like, maybe this is really an option. And you can see them, like, considering it. Yeah, they're all thinking about it. And there's a really, really long pause where they've still got weapons drawn, but they're like leaning back and they're clearly not wanting to engage anymore. And you can see Yossica think about it in her mind like, it's a bad person thing to do if I cut them down now while they're thinking about this. And I want to do good people things as a general rule. And they're not demons, undead, or slave owners, so I don't get to provoke. Like, those are the rules for the not those of the sun, the inheritors who make deals with those of the sun. Those are their patrons. And so she's kind of like, they did already start the combat, but it does feel like escalating. And so she takes a full step back as like a sign of good faith, and following her lead, Lion does the same thing. Do you guys follow suit?
Yeah.
Sweet. You
I'll
guys
follow
back
suit
up.
and start playing my lute because that's what Merigold does in these types of situations.
Yeah.
They all look at all the bandits look at each other like unclear if this is like an escalation, and one of them takes a step forward and points his knife at you and says, "Stop, stop, stop." Do you stop? As the other bandits, one of them goes, Geller, come back. And he says, no, they're clearly casters. You saw what he did to that guy. Put the weapon down. And he gestures to the loot.
It's a loot.
You think I don't know what a bard is? Put the weapon down. And he takes several angry steps towards you. Do you put her down?
Yeah, I feel like I probably have to. But, like, I'll put it back in its case. I'm not going to put it on the ground.
Right on. Yeah, you put it back in the case, and the guy, like, nods and takes a shaky step back. And one of them, a tall and, like, thinly built man, looks around at his companions, nods as he sees, like, everyone's got something covering their face, a mask or, like, a kerchief across it, and he says, right, so they wouldn't know how to identify us. We've already got a reputation as the Emerald Gang. That's not connected to any of our names. You guys very deliberately don't bring up that someone just said that dude's name was Geller. and the man nods and resheaths his knife and looks around, like, waiting for his companions to do the same. And they kind of one by one start to resheath them. And there is a sound which you've all heard before, but none more than Grayson and Alberth. There is the twang of a string being pulled tight and a projectile being let loose, as the seventh bandit, who had been forced away from this and didn't see what's going on, has pulled out his bow and launched an arrow at Alberth. Alberth rolled a dodge.
Mean. All right.
Incredibly, Alberth, like, turns his shoulder and it flies over his shoulder, clanks off the very edge of Lion's plate, and she looks up and just glares intensely at the edge of the wooded clearing. And the guy, like, looks around and goes, and still, like, a little bit under the effects of compelling discretion, kind of shouts, I've grossly misread this situation. I've grossly... And he just runs back into the woods. I'm so very sorry. I really messed something up. I feel like the guys are going to be really mad at me for a long time. And there's this moment where the bandits look around like, did that count as a re-escalation? Are we in trouble again? And they eventually all resheath their knives. And unless any of you initiate, they go back and very warily begin packing up camps. And they kind of, like, pick dust over the fire, and they gather their stuff up, and they put it in a nearby, like, handcart kind of wagon, just like a human-pulled wagon. And they nod, and then one of them, a shorter but very, like, sturdily built man, just, like, really broad-shouldered, like a smith's build, walks over and says, one last condition, and he reaches into a pouch and pulls out several coins. Very small denominations, like the least valuable coins possible, and he starts handing one to each person. And he says, I'm a barrister, which is an old word for lawyer. And he says, if you turn us in, there is now evidence that you were each bribed not to turn in that information, and you will be implicated. And so he holds out a coin and waits for each of you to accept the coin. Do you guys take the coins?
Yeah, but we'll immediately bury them, like...
That's what I was thinking.
Wait a minute.
A single coin.
Okay, so they mentioned something about a half-druidic artifact.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, do we kind of want that, maybe?
Do we see? Can I see anything as they're, like, packing up camp that looks druidic, or can I look at Merigold here and see if he sees anything that looks druidic, as he is the druid in my mind?
There is a small strong box that if you were a thief and you were surrounded by other thieves, this locked strong box is where you would put the prized possessions. They pack that into the wagon and like cover it with several layers of stuff. That, if you were to guess, would be the half of the druidic artifact. It's not that it's half druidic, it's that there's a druidic artifact that they have half of, they were going to steal the other half. Yeah. And the barrister says, oh, I see you confused. No, I haven't actually committed any crimes. I'm a barrister, and they keep me around for insurance. So this is me witnessing you taking a bribe. So I could report that.
Is this me witnessing you offering a bribe?
You don't understand. The higher courts will use magic to make sure that I'm not lying if I testify that you have taken a bribe. So I have to physically witness you taking this bribe for me to know that you're not going to turn them in because it would implicate you as well. Kamashka?
Oh, sorry. No, that's no deal to that one. Sorry, friend.
Oh, they'll probably kill you then.
They'll try.
Yes.
I do like our odds.
Okay, before we continue, let's just have a moment as people. Let's just talk about the elephant in the room here. None of you want to be here. None of us wants to necessarily be killed. Obviously, there needs to be an exchange. A threat of implication probably isn't where we would like to start. Do you want to start over? Maybe we can hash this out over a quick meal.
Quick meal. And Yossica leans over and says, hey, we should just do anything to get them out of the way at this point. I'll take the coin. That doesn't go particularly against my code of ethics. And she like takes the crappy coin and like puts it in a little pouch at her belt. I'm not going to use it. It's like pennies. What did he say?
I guess Merigold will take the coin and say, if worst comes to worst, who's going to trust the word of this random barrister who associates with criminals over the heir to the, like, great house of my country? Like, it'll be fine.
He kind of
it's also like
his
a
brow.
magical.
Yeah.
I don't say that. I think that. I don't say that. I think that.
Okay. I was going to say, he was, yeah. Yeah, I was like, you don't usually reveal your identity in this kind of situation. Yeah. But okay, yeah, that is a very rational internal thought. And through your admittedly limited studies as a mage, you haven't heard of any magic that's like this. It seems like a mage thing, but yeah. So yeah, does anyone refuse the coin?
I think Grayson does, considering he got he received the magic boost for basically promising to turn them in later, and is a little worried about accepting evidence against him, given that I'm pretty sure, is he contractually obligated with his demon to now do that?
No, the demon constantly tells you things to do, and you never have to act on them, but it is how you gain new powers, is acting on the terrible, terrible things that the demon tells you to do. It's also noteworthy, he's not like in a backpack waiting for you, but it's part of your agreement with this particular demon that he can witness the world with you as proxy. That like he can oversee your perception, basically. And that's how a lot of Otherworlders like witness the world, is with casters as their proxies.
So it's like someone accepted all cookies.
All I want to know is about the druidic artifact. If you can offer any information, I'll gladly accept a bribe.
Fair enough. What would you like to know?
One, what is it? Is it important? And we really need this to be very brief.
It's a headband. My understanding is it imparts some power that is normally saved for druids, but it imparts it to anyone who's wearing it. And the two parts are separable. Like, it's supposed to be in two parts. It's not broken. It's safer to transport if you take it into two pieces, and you have to reunite them, and then wear the little headband, and you get some kind of power. Which power? Above my pay grade. And I'm a barrister.
and you guys are stealing it for your group, the Emerald Dream or whatever?
No, we're the Emerald Gang. The Emerald Dream is from World of Warcraft. He doesn't say that. No, we're the Emerald Gang. We're stealing it for a fence who's also a druid. I'm not sure if a druid can use the druid circlet. I'm not really up stuff on magics. We have one of those magic boys. Apparently you do too. Every group's got one. They're not actually super rare.
Can I have it?
No. What? No.
All right, fair enough. I'll take my bribe. You've given me what I've asked for.
He nods cheerily and places the small iron coin in your hand. And he goes around. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, and they pack up and start to leave. Is there anything? Do you guys stop them? Do you try and change the bargain at all, or do you just let them leave?
As someone who starts to see the shape of stories, Merigold is starting to feel like this druidic artifact might have an important plot point in restoring Alberth's powers.
Oh. Hey.
And so he pulls out his lute again and starts singing a song about a dog named Old Yeller, but he replaces the Yeller with Geller. And it's a song about, it's with parodized lyrics about an emerald bandit.
That is, first of all, inspiration point. That's fantastic. I don't know if you guys are actually keeping track of the inspiration points you've gotten since session 0. I guess I could rewatch the YouTube. It's your job. You should you keep track of it. But that's fantastic. And one person does like stop as the rest of the caravan is leaving without him, and he like grabs someone's sleeve and talks to them, and you can't hear what they're saying from here, but it's very visible that Geller goes, "Hey, he's actively taunting me, and he clearly knows my identity." And the other person goes, "Kind of sounds like it sucks to suck, Geller." And they start to leave without him. And Geller, like, glances back and forth between you and the caravan and sullenly walks towards you, knowing that he's not going to win a fight against 6 people. But he walks back and goes, "Fine. What?
Oh, I'm sorry, what's up?
Bard?" I can't remember which accent I used for this guy. Someone had an American, someone had a really bad London accent. I'm just going to do the one that's easier for me. He says, "Bard, I will cut you. You clearly know my name. What do you want from me? Clearly you want additional assurances, not guaranteed by the bargain with the rest of it. So what do you want from me?"
Oh, I was just thinking that, like, you know, that artifact sounded pretty cool, and, like, my friend here, he's real into jewelry, and if he could just have the chance to, like, try it on, you know, maybe stand in front of a looking glass with it, that would go a long way, I think.
The risk of you turning me into the guard at the Capitol, compared to the risk of me trying to steal from 6 people who also know my identity, but who are more likely to kill and eviscerate me, doesn't even compare. I'm not going to steal it for you. However, I would love for you to shut up about my name and all that. So how about this? I'll tell you where the other half is. We're going to attack the caravan. We know when it's coming through, and then you will know where the other half of the circlet will be, and that will be there. Get with the other half. So you'll know where both halves will be and at what time. And then you will shut up about my name. Deal?
That actually seems pretty fair.
Sweet. And he gives you the time, 2 days from now. Apparently they were planning on camping in this leg of the woods for a while, but now they're going to leave, regroup at a local town, and then come back closer to the actual time that the caravan's going to be here.
And he doesn't seem like he's lying or anything, like that's
Nope.
truthful.
Your sense for secrecy would ping off if he was, and he adds, "And you can trust me because I'm going to leave these dipshits behind way before that heist goes down. I'm done with all of this. So do with that information what you will. Kill him for all I care. And he just storms back off towards them. Because they clearly have all of his stuff in the caravan. Just like planning to, just like having betrayed them a little bit. And he jogs off to catch up with them. Yeah, you guys just about they disappear past, and Merigold, you review something. Looking around, it's just your group, and Yossica steps forward like she's going to present the plan for hunting the demon, but you realize you detect 7 human presences nearby, yourself included, not 6. There's someone else nearby, and you look around at everyone's position, and you realize you sense someone up in a tree. When the battle was raging, there was too much going on, but now you realize there's someone left behind. And a dark, almost raspy voice echoes out from the tree right as you sense it and says, "You sure you found all the criminals?"
Can I hit him with a force lance that's amplified?
You absolutely can. You whip around to use your force lance as the familiar face of Elway swings back out from one of the branches, being like, "Ta-da! It's me, your old friend." Roll me a reflex check to not blast her into space like in Avatar: Last Airbender, just kind of an airbender thing. Oh, you
19.
very quickly, like, nothing. and the whole group sees you, like, whip around with this very weird gesture, and Elway, hanging upside down, goes, "Okay." And she drops and, like, completes the backflip because she had been, like, hanging down from her knees, you know? And like does a half twist and like lands kind of superhero landing it, like not all the way to the knees or anything. She just like crouches landing, and she rubs her hands together and she points 2 finger guns at Yossica and she says, "You were gonna hunt a demon without me again, weren't you?" Yossica goes, yeah, wasn't planning on bringing you this time." And Ellie goes, "Nice try." So, what's up, guys? Who's the new people? Tall guy. I'm Elway. It's nice to meet you. And you guys, anyone who hasn't met Elway goes through introductions. We don't have to rehash all of this because there's been introductions every episode between various characters, and including earlier this episode. Grayson, since Tom, you weren't here for the first campaign, Elway is a witch that also traveled with them for 250 miles during the first campaign. She was originally Yossica's prisoner. Yossica has since brought her to justice, meaning brought her to talk to the people who owned the property that she burnt down. And they've seemed very stern when she first went into a meeting with them. But behind closed doors, something happened that when they came out, they were all very chummy. And Yossica was like, "Really? You're just friends now?" And Elway was like, "You got that right." They have since been sharing the rent of a small apartment in the capital.
That's awesome. It's so funny too because I was like about to ask, like while we were doing this trip, but I just this is perfect. This is way better than.
Yeah, and Elway goes, "Sweet, yeah, full team reunion, except for the people who are dead, and also Pater Ullman."
Probably for the best, that one.
Yeah.
So nice to meet you, new people. And she points to Grayson and William. Apparently she had already met Lion before. She goes, "So, that was cool. There was a whole situation. I was ready to drop down. I feel like I should have sooner because Alberth and Merigold did get stabbed. You guys need some help with that?"
How's the passive healing going, by the way?
Yeah.
very slowly. It's like a multiplicative factor, but it's not like Wolverine. Like it doesn't seal up before your eyes. It's just like if you did Hearthlight Aura all the time, then it would be faster over time. And you're pretty sure it helped with your clotting factors. But you're not chirurgeon, so you probably don't know what clotting factors are. But you stop bleeding pretty quickly. Elway is an experienced like physical healer, like not magic healing, because witchcraft doesn't or occult magic doesn't have like a lot of healing, like blood magic and
Can I ask
servitalism.
you two questions about this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is this like My Hero Academia healing, where it's actually spending our resources faster? So like, the more injured I am, if I'm being passively healed, like it's just accelerating my healing ability, making me like more exhausted or whatever?
Oh, no. So I haven't seen My Hero Academia, but what you're describing sounds a lot like the hibernation wild boon. That one would use like caloric surplus to make you heal faster, but no, this faster healing is like lended to you. It doesn't like pull additional resources from your body. Yeah.
Gotcha. And second question, does that improve spell casting recovery?
No.
Like cooldowns for spell casting?
No. Which probably means it's not a physiological reality. It is a reality bound to the magic system itself.
Cool. Thanks.
Oh, speaking of, your compel indiscretion is back. The cooldown is over, Merigold, in case that
Sweet.
comes up. So Elway sees Marigold's wound first and like just pulls out some normal bandaging stuff and just like starts to get everything ready. And she speaks like through like a mouth clenched across like supplies used for cleaning wounds. She's like holding a bunch of stuff and like tucking stuff under arms and stuff. She goes, "So yeah, I woke up like I usually do in the middle of the afternoon, and I saw that you guys were gone, and you were there that morning, so I figured that you were acting on information that you would receive, and all of a sudden, look this up. That's not the right thing. All of a sudden, the air begins to tremble in a way that Alberth and Merigold have experienced before. And, in fact, Grayson, definitely Grayson, has experienced before. The air begins to tremble, and an additional sign that only Grayson knows to be for the dark sign that it is, the sky itself begins to darken. And as this little clearing gets chilly and dark and sort of tremulous in a way that's hard to define, a voice appears in each of your minds. Now, that voice is, let's see, is only audible to each of you. So we're going to have to, or I'm going to have to tell each of you what you hear in secret. And I have prepared a secret voice channel for just this occasion. Now, bear with me, because this is me using features of Discord that I'm not particularly familiar with. So we're gonna see how this turns out. We're messing with new tech, but I'm gonna hop into the secrets channel, and I will pull you in one at a time. Ha ha!
It worked.
It worked.
Though.
This one's gonna require a lot more editing than previous episodes.
Yeah.
All right. In Albert's mind, a raspy voice, similar to the demonic voice that you've heard in the past, but not the same one. I see your missing powers. I cannot offer you power in replacement. You possess a bond that is antithesis to mine. However, we need not be enemies. I can offer you safety for yourself if you lay down your weapons. What say you?
This is awful. Sorry, this is just me thinking. This is awfully cordial, considering what I know. So this demon must not realize that I have... Okay.
Seems like a reasonable conclusion.
Do I get the sense that if I lie, it will know? Did that happen when I tried to lie to the other demon?
it was hard to hide it from it, but it's not a guarantee that it would know
Okay.
if you lie.
I'll just be straight up and say, I weirdly appreciate the offer, but I'm here for one thing, and that's to rid this plane of your kind.
Yes, you brought your silver toys. Is a broken, wounded druid really going to be of that much use to his party? I can tell you now, if you all left me alone, I could just kill the woman and have away with it. The rest of you could leave.
Wait, which woman?
The inheritor woman, the demon says.
Oh. That's okay. Good luck.
Very well. I expected as much, but thought I'd check. Goodbye.
Hey.
In Merigold's mind, yeah, so you were using your presence ward, not a psychic ward, so this this visit is allowed to travel through. A raspy voice travels into your mind. Ah, it says, a secret keeper, I see. There is a great deal that I can offer you. Have you any questions so urgent they might justify sitting out this one fight? There is a great deal that I know. Surely your friends can spare their mage for one fight.
I mean, even if I were to promise this, I don't have to keep it. Thanks, Merigold.
Sensing your thoughts, if not the exact phrasing, then at least the direction of them, it says, I have ways to guarantee. You need only swear it by your name, and I will be bound as well as you.
See, I don't think I could do that to my friends, unfortunately. Plus, I've already got a fair amount of dirt on you, my friend, so I don't know what else you could even give me that I would want. Says Merigold, trying to bait the demon into revealing more information.
The demon says, something you have over me. What is that?
Oh, never mind. I'm sure we'll find out eventually.
Little mage, have you been keeping secrets?
Of course.
At this moment, it does cut off that psychic communication. Thank you for your time. A voice in Grayson's mind, assuming you allow the communication. Grayson has extensive psychic training against demons, which means if this thing tried to exert a negative effect on you, you would have a very strong chance to repel it. Right now, it is only trying to communicate, and you can choose to accept that communication or reject it entirely.
I'll accept.
Right on. The raspy voice speaks into your mind, a bit confused. I cannot detect who you are. What sort of protection is this? It does not prevent my communication, I hope, only my senses. Listen, I don't know what you want, but if you would like to opt out of this particular combat, I can spare you and I can make it worth your while. What say you?
Define worth my while.
Well, as we speak, I'm offering your companions things that they want. I swear this never happens to me. I can't tell what's up with you. What do you want? What could I offer you? What's your whole deal? You want powers? I got powers.
What kind of
I got
power are we
items? I don't. You could form a bond with me. I could be a patron. You would be a warlock.
Oh, that sounds very interesting. I've heard a lot about them. But I am new to this group, and I really want to make a good first impression.
Ugh, you're worse than the mage. And he cuts off that communication with you.
All right, what you got for me?
In William's mind, a raspy voice echoes. I sense a great aspiration from you. What say you to a deal? Lay down your weapons for this one fight, and I will give you something unique. A weapon that can kill your sworn foe, a weapon meant for the Razorkin. All you need do is refrain from this combat. Have we a deal?
How could I guarantee that this would happen?
Ah. A demon's word is as good as its name. Swear it by your name, and I will swear to my end of the deal by mine.
Okay, player to DM here. How much would William genuinely care to kill a demon versus killing the Razorkin?
William probably doesn't know that much about demons, and he's kind of sworn a crusade against Razorkin. In addition to which, William is not good in combat. He's good at healing. It's unclear if promising to refrain from this combat means he won't offer healing. It could be that you could just swear basically non-violence against him, and you would still be able to, like, act as healer.
Would I be able to, like, swear to not raise a hand against them directly?
Yes. Or you could give that a try. Is that what you offer?
I need more information on this weapon. How would
Uh-huh.
I acquire it? When would that deal be complete? This one fight, is that for the next hour, or until the combat scenario ends?
Do you ask that to the demon?
Yes. Like, spell the details for when. I need more conditions than that.
A practiced deal maker. I see. The weapon will be delivered to you before the sunset. It's about mid-afternoon now, either by my own hand or by the hand of one of my servants. In exchange, you will swear an oath of non-maleficence towards me. You will not injure me or attempt to injure me in any way. You will not attempt to cause harm to me, even indirectly, via other objects or people. You will not command anyone to do harm to me. Have we a deal?
I offer an agreement upon one piece of information. Why do my companions want to kill you so desperately?
How would I know? You came here with them. I'm just here. I assume they were conned by that silver-wearing woman to join in her pointless crusade against my kind.
I have no direct qualms with you. I accept.
Excellent. Swear it by your name.
I swear by William.
Excellent. And I swear by mine. And an eldritch combination of noises that could not be produced by the human mouth echoes cacophonously through your brain. And then the communication is cut off. And we're back in. As the demon halts communication with each of you, everyone looking around like knowing everyone else is being communicated to by the demon, except for Yossica, who's looking around like, guys, talk to me. What's up? Eventually, the communication ceases, and you pull out weapons. Alberth, crossbow, loading in a silver-tipped bolt. Grayson, probably bow and arrow, or like with the sword at your side because you're not sure where the demon is or how far you are from it. Merigold, you pull out your knife in case it's necessary, but mostly you get ready to use your exhaustive strength on some powerful spells. Even like Elway draws two knives, though neither are tipped in silver, which means you're not sure how effective she's going to be in this combat. And Yossica draws sword and shield. William and Lion draw no weaponry.
Lion? Wait, with Zweihander Lion?
Zweihander Lion.
Have we been betrayed?
Bitch.
So, looking around, you guys, yeah. The forest has darkened, as if at twilight, although you know that it is only mid-afternoon. There are shadows all around you, and the sky is darker than it ought to be. You can still see the sun, but it is as if it has been dimmed, like it's run through a tinted screen. And soon, out of one edge of the clearing, Grayson spots it first. A writhing, inky black mass rushes from the tree line. Just like you've seen before, a tall pillar of inky blackness with like one emblazoned red runic eye swings around to be in front. And it reaches out several long tentacles and bony, multi-jointed arms, all pulling itself along the ground and picking up branches and ashes from the fire and just swarming towards you. It doesn't have any ranged weaponry. It's just going to try and like slither and punch you guys. So everyone with ranged weaponry gets a full turn to act before it gets there. Let's go ahead and start with Alberth.
Okay. Just a D20?
Just a D20.
So are we targeting the eyes or the tentacles?
That's a good
I'm going
question.
for the
What are you
eye.
shooting? Yes. So not only are Alberth's bolts tipped in silver, but Alberth has a particular skill that he did not during the first campaign. Alberth's eyes are now rimmed with an angelic golden light. That enhanced angelic perception does wonders for a marksman. And you aim startlingly true as you blast a silver bolt from this weapon that this demon has likely never seen nor heard about. And it shoots forward at very surprising speeds and pierces into one side of the eyeball rune, and this shrieking howl echoes out from it. You have not done enough damage to like cause that slash through it, but I'm going to say that the gun is such an advanced invention that it will allow you to make a second shot this turn.
Wait. That's right, because I've been working on the fast reload capability. All right. Another D20. Yeah. That's a 10.
Right on. The second one strikes true as well. Though neither of them hit like direct bullseye center, they were clearly both centrally located enough that there is a hard cracking sound and there is a slash placed through this eye.
Nice.
And it howls and reaches up like a bony hand as if it would pull out the bolt from its eye, but its hand burns as it places it around the silver-tipped bolt, and it shakes and shakes and shakes its eye until eventually both bolts clatter, one first, and then after a couple more shakes, the other one clatters to the ground, and it lets out this blood-curdling shriek howl that you can hear at 3 different octaves, way spaced apart. It lets out this shriek and continues racing forward. Grayson, you don't have silver-tipped arrows for your longbow, because that would be crazy expensive. Because it's much more expensive to make an arrowhead than it is to dip a thin bolt into a molten metal, especially if you don't own a foundry like Alberth does. Alberth is also extremely wealthy, but more on that later in the campaign, I expect. What you do know how to do is use salt to your advantage against the demon. And unbeknownst to this creature, at the bottom of your quiver is actually a reserve of salt, so that when you pull out the arrows, they're already tipped in it. So
Sweet.
You pull out a rock salt arrow. You only get to make one shot with your longbow, but go ahead and make it. With a 17, a powerfully placed shot, also from a very well-trained marksman. This much heavier arrow shoots through, and once again, there's a hard cracking sound as this salt-tipped arrow smashes into the exposed eye of this demon, causing another slash through its eye rune. This is fantastic news, because Alberth has witnessed this, Alberth has fought a demon before. Alberth and Merigold And when Alberth performed his wild boon of ectasis on it, it caused it to reveal its inner like self, showing like a twig-thin body and a strange orb-like head that only had 3 eyes. And so once that third strike gets put through the eye, demon's gone. And we haven't even gotten to the inheritor, who's like the demon killer in the party. So everything is looking very nice as we bring it around to Merigold.
Well, this is what I am here for. It's no longer connected to me mentally, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And in the past, compel and discretion against this thing has gone poorly because it has such strong psychic defenses.
Yes, unless Alberth was bound to it. It's unclear because its defense was way past the scope of what you could do, but now your own capabilities are way past the scope of what you used to be able to do. So it's unclear what's going to happen, but I'm going to let you finish. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to slam it with an exhaustive strength, compel and discretion, my 2 enhanced spells.
Now, if you had just cast compel and discretion, it would have been a roll. But considering the powerful secrets that both of these spells are empowered with, I'm actually going to say you hit this thing with a Mac blast of psychic energy. And there is actually an audible crack, just like you heard when it took so much physical damage that it like took away one of its lives. You hear a crack as something inside of this thing's mind breaks like a stale twig. Unfortunately, too much comes out at once for you to actually understand any of it, as it begins shrieking at a volume that you have never heard anything produce before. You have stood at the foot of raging waterfalls and not been able to hear your loudest screams. You have listened to a chorus of lions' roars. At no point has anything made a sound like this. It sounds like someone poured all of the molten metal from an entire foundry into a volcano, and the volcano screamed from the pain of it. It sounds like a mountain giving birth and not caring who hears how much pain it's in. There is a cacophonous, painful wall of noise as this thing sends out a thunderous blast of unholy sound, chanting in an eldritch, sharp language that you have never heard before. And it pelts into the forest at a speed that even its earlier pace would not have belied. And Yossica kind of looks back and forth between you and it and screams something at the top of her lungs. Hell, if you know what it was. Because people in the capital must be hearing this. An hour's horse ride away. As this thing begins tearing trees out by the roots as it charges down the forest in the direction of the bandits that left earlier. No earthly idea what's happening, but this thing is shrieking something eldritch. Merigold doesn't understand the language that it's screaming. But there is a sense that Merigold has for the power of the secrets that he holds. And as this demon is forced to shriek something that it doesn't want to say, in a language that you don't understand, you realize someone in earshot must understand this language. Because the power associated with the demon's secret weakens ever so slightly. Someone has learned it from this wailing thing. And that's where we'll call it for today. Powerful spell from Merigold. And we continue this world's tradition of Merigold just cutting right through the plot and finding the best way to mess up an NPC and find out and just drastically change the game. What a fantastic session. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.